Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Are you as sick of buying these as I am? I told myself last year I would learn how to grow a lot more vegetables so that I can stop buying these stupid bags of vegetables and have something fresher and have a better understanding of what it takes to actually get that food on my plate. Broccoli is a cool season crop. For me here in Central Florida, that means September to February is my planting window. But I gotta say, broccoli takes a long time to reach harvest. This seed packet that I bought is Belstar broccoli from Botanical Interests. It says the days to maturity is 65 to 70, but I'm on day 108 and today I'm finally harvesting it. So broccoli takes a long time. Although broccoli is a cool season crop, you still are going to have to protect against frost if you're going to get temperatures in the 20s or even in the 30s for several days in a row. Luckily for me, I didn't really run up against that this year. Today's one of the coldest days that we've had, and the low was like 47, so I'm not in any danger of it. But you will want to consider that when you choose your time to plant it, because you're going to have to look at your first and last frost dates and back up probably 100 days or so just to make sure you can actually harvest it before the frost. Or if you don't want to do that, there's other means to protect against frost, like a frost cloth. I'm going to tell you everything I've learned about growing broccoli, from the seed to the pest management to the harvesting. Let's get into it. I picked up these seeds from Botanical Interests on the internet and shipped them to my house, but I think I made a mistake because I didn't research beforehand about the different cultivars of broccoli and choose one that my county extension office actually recommends for my area. I would highly recommend doing that because they've done so much research already about which cultivars are more resistant to your local pests and your local diseases. So really, next time I shouldn't plant this one, but it worked out this time, so I'm pretty happy with it. This is a Belstar variety, but next time I'll probably go with a Waltham 29. When you're sowing seeds for broccoli, number one, you're going to want to find a sunny spot in your garden. Like most vegetables, broccoli needs a lot of sun. To plant the seeds, you're going to need at least 1 square foot of space in your garden. Broccoli grows a lot bigger than it might look like at first. You're going to plant it really not very deep. It's like 1/8 of an inch deep. And then cover it just loosely with soil and water it, and you should get germination within 2 weeks. If you don't see any germination, just plant again. Another thing to think about is how you plan on eating your broccoli. If you want to eat it fresh every time, so harvest it and dip it in ranch or roast it in the oven while it's fresh and not frozen, you're probably going to want to stagger your broccoli plants to align with how often you want to harvest it. If you want one broccoli crown for your family once a week, stagger your planting by 1 week. If you want it less frequently, go for it. Another method would be planting several broccoli plants at the same time, and then you're inevitably going to harvest them at the same time. And then you can preserve a bunch of it and blanch it and freeze it. It really just depends what you like to do with your broccoli. Another thing I'd recommend is companion planting. To me, companion planting means several things. It's some sort of natural flavor boost or a pest deterrent or something like that. In my garden this year, I planted several onions around my broccoli plant so that it would deter the cabbage worms. Cabbage worms hate onions. If you're new to broccoli, something that you might not know is that you need to support a broccoli plant. You can look here and see how long this stem is, and it's almost like an S curve, and that's because I didn't have support for a long time, and so it had fallen over, and I guess it had self-corrected and grown up towards the sun before I decided to put a stake on here. So I just clipped the stake onto one of the leaves. Sometimes I have to readjust it. You could also use a tomato cage. That would work great. When it comes to pests for broccoli, if the companion planting doesn't cut it, you're probably looking at BT. You don't want to be caught without BT. This is a naturally occurring bacteria that poisons insects like caterpillars and worms without harming your beneficial insects. So highly recommend keeping some of this on hand. Just use it if you notice that the pests are a problem. You can also hand pick the worms or any caterpillars that show up. But of course that's time consuming, and sometimes we can't catch it before like destruction has occurred on your crop. To figure out if your broccoli is ready to harvest, you're going to look closely at it. See how this is such a nice green color? You don't see any yellow really. If you start seeing signs of yellow, that means these little buds are starting to bloom, and that's going to affect your flavor in a negative way. Another thing to look at is the tightness of the crown. See how these are barely moving? This is a nice and tight crown. The longer it goes, the looser these will get. So if it's too loose, it's just going to affect the flavor. It doesn't totally ruin your plant or anything, but harvest as soon as it looks like this. Now, one of the fun things about broccoli is that as soon as you harvest this main crown right here, these offshoots are going to start producing other crowns. They'll be smaller, but it'll keep going and you'll actually get more than one harvest off of this one plant. Here's an example of the side shoots that will actually grow into a crown of their own. See, I've got two right here. So when I harvest the broccoli, I'm going to cut the head off right here, making sure to stay above these two side shoots. All right, so I'm going to take my Barebones hori knife. I'll take the serrated side. I think that's going to do better. And I'll just quickly inspect around the crown and make sure I know where the side shoots are so I can avoid them. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to avoid this one right here. I might take it with me. We'll see. And there you have it. Now you tell me, would you rather eat this fresh from a garden or this from the grocery store? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.